Hello everyone, John from Gaming in the Wild here, and I've got another game review for you today. And it is a big one. It is about Ball Pit, a new indie game that has just launched yesterday as I'm recording this. It is by Kenny, Son and Friends. It was published by the ever-reliable Devolver Digital. It is out on all of the formats now, and I have to say, this is one of the indie games of the year. So if you are someone that follows this channel because of the indie game coverage, then Ball Pit is a game that you should not ignore. I think this is one of the most compelling indie games that we have seen in 2025, and in this review I'm going to break down exactly why, from the Spartan but effective visuals to the deep, compelling soundtrack to a very engaging power-up system where you can develop and evolve and combine your attacks into really exciting screen-clearing effects. We've seen a lot of Vampire Survivors-like since that game dropped, but this is the first one that hits those same heights and maybe exceeds them. As always, your likes on this video are appreciated to help this channel grow and to help other people find the videos. Next Fest is underway as well, and I'm going to be making a video about the best of the fest at the end, but let me know in the comments if there are some awesome Steam Next Fest games that you think I should be checking out for my next video. I will also flag that there is a Gaming in the Wild audio podcast that you can find either on my YouTube profile or on your listening platform of choice. And as always, I will tell you about this channel's wonderful Patreon community, including our Steam Next Fest community event at the end. And with that, let's get into it. This is Ball Pit. So Ball Pit is a game by Kenny, Son and Friends with a fantastic soundtrack by Amos Roddy. It is published by the ever-reliable Devolver Digital. It came out simultaneously for Switch, Steam, PS5 and Xbox, and there is a Switch 2 version in the works. Bit of a shame that didn't come out at launch too, but you know, we've been hearing a lot about devs and dev kits and that kind of thing, so it is what it is. I played the game on an AUX Ally. I experienced only two small hangs and a couple of moments where the chaos that was unfolding on screen became a little too much for the handheld. But honestly, that was almost part of the game-breaking satisfaction, to be honest. It's basically a clean, bug-free game. Metacritic has it at 88, OpenCritic has it at 85. I had predicted a 90 plus in the Gaming in the Wild Discord, so mid to high 80s is lower than I would personally go. I think that this might be a 10 out of 10 game if I was scoring it, to be honest. And I'll tell you why in this review. The developers described this game by saying Ball Pit is a brick-breaking, ball-fusing, base-building survival roguelike. Batter hordes of enemies with ricocheting balls and gather the riches of the pit to expand your homestead, generate resources, and recruit unique heroes. And I have to say of this one that Ball Pit is close to perfect. It mixes diverse influences from 80s arcade games, 90s twin-stick shooters, Vampire Survivors, Balatro, and the best of the 2020s roguelike trend, resulting in a compelling, addictive, and satisfying contemporary rework of the classic shoot-'em-up. And one of the things that I really like about this game is that it feels unashamedly indebted to video games past. It has a little bit of Space Invaders in it. There is an invasive force that comes from the top of the screen to the bottom, and you have to clear it before it gets to you. It has a little bit of Breakout in it, and Arkanoid. These are the classic brick breaker games where you shoot little balls, you bounce them off the walls, you bounce them off the ceiling, and you clear the screen of bricks to pass the level. There's a little bit of the classic twin-stick shooter Smash TV in here that's all about crowd control, managing movement and multi-directional firing to stay alive. There's a little bit of Vampire Survivors in here where you clear the screen of a mass of enemies, upping your build all of the time, collecting gems, getting regular power-ups with auto-fire, giving it a slight idle game vibe. And then it has the influence of Balatro with a diversity of builds and regular breaks where you add to and tweak your build to try and build something that's going to get you through the game. And something that I really like about Ball Pit is that it wears all of this on its sleeve. It is a love letter to all of these games that came before it, and a really, really good version that walks tall and can actually stand shoulder to shoulder with those influences, which is saying a lot. I think if you were to try and boil it down to its essence, it could be described as a contemporary shoot-'em-up. You pick a character at the start, you choose the level you want to play, and then you board a giant lift and enter the pit of the title. You will emerge into a level. It's a vertically scrolling twin-stick shooter. Gameplay-wise, you will have to survive long waves of enemies that flow from the top of the screen. You have to figure out strategies to stem that flow, like creating little openings in the front of the column where your fired balls will bounce around furiously, and get down the sides, get to the back, and sort of hollow out the column from the back, whilst also managing the front of the column, which is encroaching on your space all of the time. So there is a really fun moment-to-moment tactical arcade feel to this gameplay. As enemies die, they drop a carpet of gems that you then hoover up Vampire Survivors style. That sometimes involves a bit of risk and reward, with you going into spaces where you're going to be in danger because you're trying to power up faster and stay alive. You will then spend those gems on boons and power-ups when you hit a certain threshold. Build crafting is a huge part of this game, just like it was in Vampire Survivors. You know how you start out with a little pea shooter and you end up with this screen-clearing aura around you that just mashes enemies as they come towards you. It has that gameplay too. And you can reach that satisfying bullet heaven moment where you just become the eye of the storm. There are mid-bosses and then a final boss, and after completing the stage, the lift will take you back up to the surface. You then get to engage in the other section of the game, which is a little village builder section. You use the resources that you've gathered and blueprints that you found during the game to unlock and create and build more buildings. Some of those will unlock more characters or give you permanent buffs or upgrades. You can also upgrade the lift. Doing so will unlock new levels and let you go deeper and deeper into the pit. And hugely importantly, for a run-based game like this, no run feels wasted. You always come back with something, whether it's a little bit of currency, a little bit of XP for the character that you were using. So you are very effectively incentivized to play levels and then to use all of the characters and then to replay levels using all of the characters. Winning always feels good as you open up new buildings, new stages, new characters to play as, and you find yourself going deeper and deeper down the well. And you might be able to tell from my enthusiasm in this review that I am super into this game. I think it has the juice, as we sometimes like to say. You know it when you see it. Balatro has the juice, Vampire Survivors has it, and Ball Pit has it too. What that means is the subject for a GDC talk probably, but I will try and outline what I think makes Ball Pit so successful in this review. First up, I think progression is hugely important to this kind of game, and Ball Pit just nails it. There are tons of stages, there are tons of characters to unlock, and I won't spoil how many there are or how long it takes to discover them all, but I will say that the new characters open up some seriously different playstyles. Some of these characters literally reinvent what you were doing on the screen in a way that feels so fresh and vibrant and ambitious from a design point of view. The levels also have a lot of enemy and boss variety that makes you employ different strategies, and I think being able to choose which level you would like to play for your own personal variety really sidesteps one of my big criticisms of Hades 2, which is the same levels in the same order and the same bosses in the same order every single time. Ball Pit sidesteps that repetition and predictability problem because you can always choose which level you want to run, you can choose which character you want to run it with, and you aren't locked into that overly familiar grind. This game gives more agency to the player, and that really helped to keep me interested in the game. Any game that is run-based also has to have a between-run space or a hub, and in this game it's a village that you can build out and expand using the resources that you've won. You get blueprints from playing the game that let you unlock buildings like a gym, which gives you a permanent strength upgrade, and that gym can then be upgraded itself to give you even more strength. You can get a university for an intelligence upgrade and so forth. You also get houses for different characters, and when the construction is complete, that character will become playable. And I really like how you build the buildings as well. After you've used your resources to plant the foundations, you have to fire your little characters into the village. They then bounce around like a pinball, and every time they hit a work in progress structure, it gets closer to completion. So there is a really fun mini game in the village where you have to rearrange your buildings to try and create these pinball structures that your little pinball characters will bounce through to make them build faster. It's engaging, it's light, it's fun, it breaks up the gameplay, and it also has an impact on your stats and therefore some pretty serious gameplay implications. So, it's really, really well done. It's really entertaining. And like everything in this game, I think they just nailed the whole hub thing. Something else that is absolutely essential for any kind of run-based game is that it has to have really good progression and power-ups. And as I was saying, you take out waves of enemies in this game, they drop gems, you pick them up, and when you hit a certain threshold, which is on a little meter, so you can see how close you are, the game will automatically pause and present you with a choice of 3 power-ups. I will, as an aside, say that many games have copied this from Balatro, from Vampire Survivors, from other roguelikes. But something that they miss is that it has to feel good when you do it. And in Balltime's Pit, you get a big swirling, colourful starscape, a little Ankh symbol, and then the power-ups are presented to you. And a lot of games that came after Balatro and Vampire Survivors mimicked the mechanics, but forgot the visual part, forgot the stimulus and the player feedback, and Ball Pit nails that as well. Power-ups come in various varieties. There are low-key defensive ones, like an armor boon or an intermittent shield that will absorb one attack completely and then go on to cooldown, or winged shoes that will up your speed so you can get out of trouble faster. These are kind of ancillary boons that aren't super exciting, but they can actually save your neck, so they are important. But you can also upgrade your basic attack, that is the balls your character sprays out up the well. You can increase the rate of fire, which is effectively a damage increase. You can spray out more projectiles at the cost of accuracy. You can increase damage before balls have hit the wall or after they have hit a wall. And that will really change your tactics and your positioning, because you can choose the angle that you're firing these balls out at. So if the damage ramps up every time the balls bounce, you will send it zigzagging up the well. Whereas if bounces decrease the damage, then you have to get right in the enemy's face and hit them directly. So you can create a build based entirely around your basic ammo if you want to, with balls stacking damage as they bounce around or splitting into 2 or 3 or more upon impact, until the whole screen is filled with bouncing balls like some crazy plague of locusts ricocheting all over the place. And I really did enjoy this as a build strategy, but there is a more powerful kind of build that you can work with. So if you get overwhelmed by the column using this basic ball upgrade strategy, then there is of course the special balls. These are balls that come with different effects that have much higher damage output but fire much less frequently. There are things like an area of effect earthquake that rumbles across the screen. You can power that up so it covers a greater area and deals more damage. You can get lasers that flicker across the screen. You can get status effect balls like poison, bleed, or fire. They fire intermittently at first, but they stack status effect damage onto enemies with really cool visual effects to match. My personal favourite is the OP freeze build, where you inflict ice damage that also freezes enemies in place, slowing the encroaching enemy column down to a crawl. This creates like a giant jostling traffic jam of enemies that stops encroaching on you, giving you breathing space to take them all out. It's really satisfying to do, and you have to choose carefully because you have a limited number of slots for these special attacks and boons, and this is where it starts to get really interesting. And that is because there is an all-important third layer on the power-up system I'm describing, and that is powering up and evolving your power-ups to be even more effective and even more impressive. Every now and then during your wave assault, you will get a rainbow yin-yang pickup that gives you 3 different options. Number 1 is Fission. That is leveling up an existing power-up like your Quake or your Bleed just to make it more effective. Number 2 is Fusion. That is mixing together any 2 special balls. For example, you can combine Poison and Ice, which will free up a slot in your specials and also give you an effect where you'll be freezing and poisoning enemies at the same time. But best of all is the third one, and that is Evolution. Certain power-ups can be combined into an especially powerful custom form. For example, Bleed and Vampire can be combined into a Vampire King, which then stacks bleed onto enemies at a really high rate and steals their life too. Or Lightning and Freeze, which can be combined into a powerful ice storm that sweeps across the field, freezing enemies and striking them with electricity damage at the same time. These are really powerful, really impressive, and really fun to do. And there are tons of evolved power-ups to discover, and you can even combine them with each other. So if you manage to evolve a Spider Queen, which fires off little spiders all over the place upon impact on an enemy, you can combine that with Sandstorm, which is an area of effect attack that sweeps across the field, and suddenly you've got a Spider Queen, and all of the little baby spiders she fires are actually sandstorms, and you just have one of the most powerful, satisfying weapons in the game. There is also a really cool system where when you're presented with power-ups, you can see how they can potentially combine with the things you have already. So you have a basic roadmap that will teach you how to evolve powerful attacks. This is a super thoughtful inclusion that lets you purposefully build craft in a really cool way, and I think it's a compliment to the developers that they thought this through and that they've been this generous with the player to really let you into the game and show you all the things you can do. And how this actually works out is that it's kind of like a pyramid scheme. You start off with like ice and fire, and spider and vampire, and all of a sudden you are combining them and then evolving them, and then combining your evolved things and powering up your basic ammo all at the same time. And you get to a point of just being transfixed by what you've created on the screen, where you're freezing the enemy column. They're also on fire. They're also poisoned. There are sandstorms flying all over the screen. You're getting more bonus attacks if you hit them from the right. So you're bouncing all your basic ammo up there, and then you've tripled the amount of basic ammo that you have. And the whole thing just becomes mesmerizing, just a mesmerizing maelstrom of destruction. And I think this really is the only game other than the original Vampire Survivors that really hits that golden zone and gives you that golden moment where you just really feel like you've broken the system wide open. I would even go so far as to say that I felt more engaged as a player with Ball Pit than I did in Vampire Survivors because of the positioning, because of the dodging that always matters, especially on powerful bosses. The twin stick shooter gameplay really adds to the idle game auto fire formula. And even though it's a combination of a lot of different influences, I think Ball Pit might just be better than any of them. With all of the characters that have these different play styles, with all of the levels, with their different visuals, and this amazing pumping soundtrack, with all of the different weapons, combos, evolutions, and then combined evolutions. This is just a really satisfying game. I'm in awe of the ambition that is on display here in terms of the scope, in terms of the layering of systems, in terms of the balancing of it all, the gameplay variety that is on offer. It just never seems to end. I don't know what to say. Ball Pit is a game that just rips. So to finish off by going through some of the upsides and downsides of the game, it's mostly upsides here. I mean, the visuals are simple but spot on, and given how much is going on screen as you play, they seem pitched at exactly the right level to let the whole thing run smoothly. There are no major bugs to speak of, and performance was fine. I also want to praise Amos Roddy's soundtrack. It bounces between trap and trip hop and murky techno. It feels both contemporary and classic, and it still has that trademark dreamy Amos Roddy quality to it as well. Really, really engaging, perfect for the game. The moment-to-moment gameplay is simply excellent in this game. You are always engaged, whether that's in your positioning, trying to crack open the enemy column, trying to force an opening and figure out a strategy, or, absolutely tanking damage down the front to try and stop yourself from being overwhelmed. The build crafting also is second to none. The Fission, Fusion, Evolution system is something that I expect smart game developers to start copying immediately. I really like the hub village setup and the blueprints and building system, and especially how it mirrors the ball bouncing, angle finding gameplay of the main game. I really like the level variety visually and in terms of enemy variety too. I really enjoyed the boss fights. They are all memorable, they're all interesting. I never got bored of them in the way that I got bored of Hades 2 very quickly, actually. And I think that the ambition of the character classes is off the scale in Ball Pit. There are things that I don't want to spoil in this review as well that make you rethink how you're playing entirely. This is just a top-class game. I somehow have over 40 hours in it, and I'm still playing. The runs are 10 minutes or so you can squeeze in a quick one on a break, or you can play while you watch a stream or a movie late at night. It's a game that just seemed to fit effortlessly into my schedule somehow. As for the downsides, no notes. That's Ball Pit. And just before we go, I wanted to let you guys know about the Steam Next Fest community event that I am running on the Gaming in the Wild Patreon Discord. If you hop into the Gaming in the Wild Patreon, I will personally send you an invite to our Supporters Club Discord, where we are running a Steam Next Fest event. And if you are someone who takes part in Next Fest regularly, you'll know that the hardest thing about it is cutting through the noise and finding the best games. And that's where this event comes in. All of the patrons of this channel get access to the Supporters Club Discord. There is a channel there called October Steam Next Fest, where people are playing games, they are dropping links, they are talking about the things they play, and then we have a doc running where people can rate the games they are playing. Everyone has access to it, everyone can see the games that are getting 5 stars from multiple people, and they can hop in and try them as well. So I think that this event is actually a super cool way to communally play through Next Fest and to share the best games that we find with each other. At the end of the event, I will post a video that runs through the top 5 best of the Fest games that the Gaming in the Wild community chose, and my top 5 as well. So if you would like to take part in that and help to vote in the top 5 best of the Fest, then you can join the Patreon. I will put a link on the screen now. It is patreon.com/gaminginthewild. You also get a whole bunch of other perks too. I tell people my YouTube techniques and things that I am considering when it comes to thumbnails, when it comes to editing, when it comes to music choices, when it comes to understanding analytics, writing scripts, and all of that kind of thing, audio details too. So if you are someone who is interested in the inside baseball of content creation, then I am posting on Patreon every couple of weeks and sharing the things that I've learned on my YouTube journey. And I would like to say a big shout out to the newest patrons, Raha, Nicholas, TJ, K Donna, and Little Hamster, all of whom joined up in the last week. And as always, a huge shout out to the boss tier patrons. They are Shy Guy, King Champ, Keris, Nate, and a brand new boss tier patron, Susanna Maria. So thanks very much to all of those people for supporting me, supporting the channel, and helping me to make videos and podcasts for you. The final thing on the agenda for this video is that I wanted to tell you that AUX, the console accessory company, reached out to me recently and sent me a big box of accessories to try out. It's not a sponsorship, they are just sending me stuff to try. I have an ROG Ally. It is a console that I love, or rather a PC handheld that I love, but the big downside of it is the battery life. And AUX actually sent me a mod case that is a grip that you put onto the Ally that has a battery that clips onto the back of it. So if you're on a plane, if you're on a train, if you're out of the house or away from an outlet, you can clip this battery onto the back of it, pop it into the USB-C outlet on the ROG Ally, or input rather, and it will literally double the life of the console. I've been trying it out over the last week and I'm a big fan of it. I was really happy that AUX reached out to me because I actually do use their stuff. For the entire Switch 1 generation, I was using a AUX silicone cover on my Switch, which had perfectly proportioned handles that let me have more comfort with the Switch, because the original Switch is so skinny it gave me hand cramps. I'm really happy that they're making ROG Ally stuff. They also sent me a little dongle that goes into the back of the TV and into the ROG Ally that saves you buying a giant docking hub for your desk, but still allows you to get the console into the TV. They sent me a really good screen protector that is tempered glass, it's not too reflective, and it's easy to apply. I really do think that AUX are one of the best in the biz when it comes to quality accessories. If you're looking through Amazon and wondering which companies to trust, they are my go-to, to be honest. Again, this is not a sponsored segment. They just sent me some stuff and I'm really grateful to them for doing so. So shout out to AUX and check out their stuff if you're looking for Switch 2 or ROG Ally accessories. And I'm going to end this video there, so thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next one.